Attack on Titan's coming out next year, and recently we got a good chunk of gameplay through a live stream. Since it is a sequel to Wings of Freedom, we expect a lot of similarities to the first game, but we're also expecting a few improvements. And today, that's what we're focusing on. We're looking at the Attack on Titan 2 gameplay and analyzing what's new so you know what to expect when the game comes out. Let's start with a big fundamental change, which is the fact that you're no longer playing the story with all these different characters from the show. You're actually creating your own character this time around. This means you won't constantly be jumping around and changing character all the time, so the gameplay won't be changing as much either. In the first Attack on Titan, you had some key differences between the style of each character. And this time around, even if they let you play as one of the characters from the show once in a while, the story seems to be mainly played through your custom character. But I fully expect you to be able to play some chapters as characters from the show. For instance, I'd be very disappointed if I don't get to play as Titan Ymir, for instance. Attack on Titan 2 is also giving you dialogue choices this time around, and since this is an original character, you can actually choose what to say in each situation. They're not tied to the show, to the manga, to the anime. They have this opportunity to create some different dialogue. And your choices, well, they don't seem to have a big impact on the story itself, but they do affect your relationship level with a lot of characters. This relationship or friendship level can also be raised through some different activities like going out on missions together or giving each other gifts, which is something that we didn't see during this gameplay, but it was described in the tutorial message. Now, I'm not exactly sure of what raising your friendship level does, if it makes those characters stronger in battle or whatever. That's just something we'll have to wait to figure out. But your friends do have very distinct abilities in battle. In the mission they've shown, for instance, you're in party with Connie, Krista, and Ymir. You can see each character has a little icon next to them. Connie, for instance, can attack a Titan that you have targeted. Krista can heal you, and Ymir can rescue you if a Titan catches you. And those are some pretty significant changes, but what about the mobility? Using the 3D gear, is there anything different there? Well, not much. Most of it's quality of life stuff, some polish here and there, but for the most part it's actually quite similar. We can see that the character's ground slide animation looks a lot more deliberate, and it actually gives it a very cool effect. The character also seems better at recognizing ledges and walls, so it knows when it needs to wall run a lot better than the first game. You know, little changes like that for the most part. There is a bigger change to mobility that has to do with combat as well. They've changed the way you kill Titans a little bit, and that does give you a lot more mobility options. In the first game, you would lock onto a Titan, press square to hook towards him, and then triangle to attack. In this new game, after you lock on, all you have to do is press triangle to hook towards the Titan, and then triangle again to attack. It seems this change happened to give the player a lot more freedom after locking on. You can still use the square button to hook buildings or objects around the Titan, to sort of go around them and then go in by just pressing triangle. While in the first game, after you locked on, every time you press square to hook something, you're gonna hook towards the Titan. You could still maneuver around it, kind of, but this makes it a lot more convenient. And speaking of convenience, one of the first things I noticed that they've changed is the way you use items. It seems that now, instead of scrolling through the item you want to use, you can only carry 4 items, but they're all bound to a different button on the D-pad. I do think this is a positive change. It will encourage players to use items more often, and that's great because most of the time I forgot they even existed. It makes the items easier to use because now you don't have to scroll through them. You only have to press one button to replace your gas, your blades, or use a grenade if you want. I am a bit concerned that they're making the combat a bit too easy though, because of their new monocle mechanic. Basically, your character has a monocle now, and you can use this monocle for a surprise attack on a Titan. Basically, you scan the Titan with the monocle and then just press triangle for an attack that deals heavy damage. But this will only work if the Titan is not aware of you. Still, I think it will be too easy to find Titans and catch them off by surprise way too often. And it's just one button for heavy damage, so I'm not a big fan of this change. But I think that gameplay-wise, the biggest change here is the Titans. Boy, they have been revamped. Let's look at their changes one by one. First of all, they seem much more aware of their surroundings. You can see their hands recognizing that they're near a building. It's still a bit glitchy, I guess. It looks like their hands are stuck to the building sometimes, but it's not the final game, so let's only judge when it comes out. And they're not just aware of buildings, they're also aware of players who approach them from behind. You can see a Titan slapping the player who is approaching it from behind several times, and this is a very deliberate animation, meaning you need to be on your toes even if the Titan isn't facing you. There's also this one time where a blue aura shows up when the Titan tries to slap you, so the player might have dodged the attack there. There might be a timed dodge mechanic, but we can't say for sure at this point. And that's not the only new behavior that we see. There's also a Titan who stomps the ground repeatedly, almost like throwing a small tantrum, creating these small shockwaves on its feet, trying to keep the player away. And I'm sure these two aren't the only new mechanics for Titans. After all, this was a pretty short demo. I'm sure we'll see more when the game finally comes out. But the new scariest attack is one that is common to all Titans, it seems, and it's when a Titan goes into a frenzy. The screen goes red, the Titan destroys every building on its path, and it's just trying to eat you, and it seems like you really should run away until this rage expires. I don't remember any moment in the first Attack on Titan game being as scary as this. Hopefully they do fix their frame rate, because the game takes a real hit when this happens, but if they do, oh my god, this will be awesome. Because think about it, it can happen at the worst of times. It can happen when you're out of gas or when you're low on health. It could really make you scared for your life. Now, if you have a stun grenade, that's actually an easy way to get out of this danger zone, because once you use it, the Titan loses his rage state. But hey, you never know what happens in the field. Maybe you've already used a couple of them and now you're out of stun grenades. So this new mechanic can really catch you off guard. I'm really happy about this addition. And that's pretty much all I could take out of that live stream. But what do you think about these changes to the gameplay? Are you into them? Are they changing the game too much? And you like the original? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And because character creation is also in this game, we made a video recently talking about how every anime game is getting character creation. If you haven't watched it yet, click the video right here. If you're in the mood for something else, there's also the video at the bottom. But as always, thank you very much for watching. My name's Globku, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!